In the War of 2014, during Battlefield 3's story, the United States forces are in Iran for peacekeeping operations. However, a coup led by the PLR insurgency overthrew the government. The leader, Solomon, traded nuclear weapons to the militia. The nukes were targeted towards America, and Russia was directly blamed. The US and France were also targeted in attacks, and the situation dragged the US and Russia into a war on Iranian soil. In the early stages of the war, the US Marine forces fought with the PLR insurgents. In the middle of the battle, an earthquake destroys parts of Iran. The entire US military, Russian forces, and the insurgents were traumatized the entire time. That led to battles in the streets of earthquake-ravaged Iran. One of the key areas that both sides fought for was the Grand Bazaar. The battle for the Grand Bazaar is a rough urban engagement within central Tehran during 2014. That conflict pitted the United States Marine Corps against the Russian army. The map itself is part of the strategy. It's urban, narrowly built, and featuring a great deal of destruction already. It reflected the fighting that began right before the arrival of the Marines. The Grand Bazaar map is classic and mirrored, where both sides have similar paths, flanks, and opportunities to use the high ground. The close-quarter nature of the fighting makes it a short-range combat map, often favoring shotguns and SMGs. The battle takes place under the wet, drizzling rain, with graffiti and propaganda posters all across the walls. From the developers, quote, "We knew we wanted to do something very urban in the city center of Tehran. The fiction has you coming in 2 weeks after the fighting started, so the tight and narrowly built city has a great deal of destruction already when you spawn into the game. Grand Bazaar is a classically mirrored map where both sides have very similar paths, sideways, and possibilities to traverse heights to get a better view of the action. It's a very short-range, close-quarter combat map where shotguns tend to be favored." The battle to conquer the territories centers on 3 main objectives: the square near the US base, the market near the Russian base, and the middle alleyways, the main choke point, involving fast close quarters sprinting to objectives, LAV and BMP support, and alley fights. The War of 2014 was a American and Russian Pyrrhic victory. In the story, Marine Sergeant Blackburn successfully stopped one of the nukes from going off in New York City. Even though he stopped one of the nukes, Russia was still blamed. However, one of the nukes went off in France, and Russia took the blame for it. There were 80,000 French casualties, and that perpetuated the main misunderstanding that escalated the US and Russian involvement. That belief that Russia was responsible for these nuclear attacks escalated the entire war into a major global conflict between the US and Russian Federation. Grand Bazaar was one of the first battles in this war. One of the outcomes of the war included Americans occupying Iran and Russia failing to prevent the nuclear threat by losing nukes to arms dealers. The increased tensions and military conflict between US and Russia led to the War of 2020 in Battlefield 4. This battle set the stage for the next major global conflict depicted in the Battlefield series. The War of 2014 and the fight at the Grand Bazaar left scars that shaped the Battlefield world to come. Iran's war-torn streets carried the conflict that pushed nations closer to the edge of complete war, and the Grand Bazaar itself stood as an example of close-quarters fighting that tested everyone's resolve. Its narrow alleys, high vantage points, and sudden ambushes became a proving ground for the US and Russian forces, and it shaped how future battles will be fought in the game. From the smoke, rain, and fire brought a legacy of struggles, setting the tone for the wars yet to come. Thanks for watching. Leave a like and subscribe.